I'm born in Windhoek, and I've grown up in Windhoek in the 70s. We've participated in all what we used to do in 1976 and 1978, of course, the protest of the schools. But I was then also a youth leader in the SWAPO of Namibia, the liberation struggle, and was a political prisoner at that time as well. And later on left that and was sent to the United Kingdom for study purposes then. And we actually carried out the liberation struggles message in the United Kingdom under the umbrella of the anti-apartheid movement, of course, with representation from both the ANC and the SWAPO of Namibia at that time. And I shared so many platforms with your late leader, Aziz Pahat, and George as well, who were in the UK in the 80s at that time. And I returned to Namibia in 2013, permanently, having studied in the UK and having been in the UK for 33 years, of course, studying and later on advancing my educational abilities as well, and came to Namibia. And the biggest thing that I needed to do, first of all, is I came to a country which was independent and a country that became strange to me. And so I traveled the entire country to be able to understand exactly what did independence meant to a lot of the people of Namibia. And that's what brought me to understanding the sufferings of our people inside Namibia. In remote areas, to many people, independence brought no changes at all. Naturally, our leaders have some unique ideas of what we want for Namibia, but it seems as if the aim was liberation and we achieved that.
But you were part of SWAPO. You can't come today and point a finger at SWAPO. When you were part of SWAPO, what did you do when you saw that your leaders are veering off the road?
I was part of SWAPO of Namibia, the liberation movement. And SWAPO party was then formed after independence in order to participate in terms of constitutional provisions.
But these were your comrades.
These were my comrades.
The people that you knew, and some of them mentored you.
Yes. Oh, some of them mentored me. Peter Kachavi was my mentor in the UK. I was sent around by Shapa Kaukungwa, who was the chief representative of SWAPO in the UK. SWAPO that liberated Namibia is not the same SWAPO that is governing Namibia at the moment. They've lost vision completely. In 2019, that's when I decided to stand as an independent presidential candidate in the elections that took place then. That's when I parted company with the idea of having to betray the people of Namibia for what we stood for: solidarity, unity, and the freedoms that we've talked, including the freedom to have a job, the freedom to own a house, the freedom to have a life. And that has been completely discarded, and people started actually looking after their own bellies and forgot the masses that we kept on saying in the liberation struggle, our people are suffering. And it was then in March 2020 that they expelled me from SWAPO party, but I never had a membership card of SWAPO party. I was never a functionary in the SWAPO government to start with, neither in any of its structures. After independence, I participated in nothing whatsoever to do with governing Namibia or to do with the administration of SWAPO party itself. So my role ended at independence, as it were, when we had freedom of association then to go and seek any association that we so wished. So my expulsion was from a party at that time where I did not have a membership card of that party.
Okay, let's talk about elections.
Yes.
In terms of your manifesto, what are the issues that are of a priority for you in relation to your manifesto?
Clearly, if anyone has been following what has been taking place in Namibia, we've got a massive unemployment rate in our country that nobody really have got statistical evidence as to how much. We know that it was 33.4 in 2018. COVID, of course, came, and more people graduated, and more people no longer have got jobs. So job creation is priority to our people. Up to 300,000 housing units is required in Namibia. We've got almost 1 million people without decent houses, without sanitation, without electricity, and without water, running water, the basic sort of things of life. And that is critically important, that we make sure that we provide housing to our people as part of our most important policies coming in as well. But what is more important that has killed all these possibilities is corruption in our country that has tainted our image on the outside world so badly, to the extent that there are a lot of corrupt elements within the ruling party at the moment, and it became part of their life. It's ingrained in the whole grain of the SWAPO leadership at the moment. And what we want to do is to make sure that we bring about responsible and accountable governance of our people, to make sure that we root out corruption. Corruption and such economic development cannot be bedfellows at all. So those are some of the important things. But above all, we need to go and build our infrastructure in order for us to move our economy. Entrepreneurship is necessary to provide people with opportunities to be able to make ends meet. So it's critically important that we think of both those ones. But water is important. A lot of people have got no water. Now, I'm one of the only leaders in the country that has spent the past 3 years traveling village to village. I've gone over 500 villages, speaking to people in their homes, in their villages, sitting on the ground with them, understanding their needs. And it's those needs that are driving me. It's those needs that are going to be allowing me to seek solutions when I seek the mandate from the people.
Many people during elections, particularly those who are part of a particular history of a particular country, when they break away, or at times get expelled, they begin to challenge the establishment, and they promise citizens lots and lots of issues, changing their lives. When they are now in power, they don't deliver. Are you saying you will deliver what you are promising? And in terms of time frames, because well and good to talk about the manifesto, what are the time frames in terms of delivering on your promises?
Absolutely critical to understand that we cannot deliver everything else overnight. A lot of things will take time for us to actually deliver. Some of the things will be dependent on, do we have the funds to deliver? At the moment, we don't even know.
So how are you going to deliver when
the very
you
first
don't
thing that we
know?
need to do is to make sure that, why don't we have social services funded by the government? Why don't we have jobs in Namibia? It's because we have got no businesses to build Namibia. Our secondary structure, secondary sector is basically non-existent. So our first approach is to reduce the tax regime, which is at 32%, and bring it down to 22%. That will give a lot of companies a breathing space and an ability to invest in their own workforce and to expand and therefore employ more people. Once they employ more people, obviously the government will be able to get the personal taxes in the coffers that will contribute to funding some of these social services. We collected in Namibia 19.739 billion this year alone of our 78.6 billion budget, in addition to the 24 comes in. So if we employ more people, there will be more collection of these funds that will then be able to provide funding for social services. So we are aware of that one. But we are also saying that we are going to have a ceiling of 2 million for small and medium enterprises to allow them to strengthen before we start taxing them. And the same applies as well to the VAT as well. There is evidence to suggest that if you reduce 1% of your tax regime, you will be able to grow your investment by 4.7 at least. We are intending to reduce it by virtually 10, and that is going to increase the 50. And we will be dealing with our GDP by creating more people with money in the pocket to go and create the consumer market.
Well, let's talk about the criticism that you are supported by business. You saw the criticism, white business in particular, with people that are from the liberation organizations. This criticism is very strong in Namibia. How do you respond to those critics? And finally, will you accept the outcome of the results? If you lose or if you win, will you in particular accept the results if you lose?
First of all, one thing is absolutely settled, that at this stage where SWAPO is facing complete defeat, they will be tainting the name of Dr. Itula and IPC as well. They've made allegations with regard to so-called funding from the British government. Even the British ambassador in Namibia responded to them to say we've got no funding. They created all these social media fabrications. I was aware of that. My time is not spent countering and recountering propaganda. One needs to be able to understand at this stage that there will be more propaganda. Itula will be stained as a Western agent and all these others. We are not concentrating on that. We are concentrating on really making sure that we bring the bread and butter issues to the attention of our public as well, to make absolutely sure that they know that the vulnerability of SWAPO to throw all missiles at us. If we concentrate on that, then we'll lose focus on what we are doing. Accepting results. I am a Democrat, and we've got a democratic constitution that allows people to participate in political activities. At the same time, had it been the case that we were given funds from outside Namibia, it would have been within the regulatory management of actually funding elections. We will not be the inventors of funding political party during campaigns. But what's critically important is this, that IPC has grown from day one on the 2nd of August 2020 with funding from its own members. We received not a single cent of funding from any outside entity whatsoever, governments or individuals. And at the same time as well, we've grown on that. The last thing is this, that we will be able to look at the elections and we will be able to accept legitimate, fair and free elections. Where there are irregularities, we have got a responsibility from our sponsors, from our members, to challenge that and to make sure that we have got credible results. The results will be determined by the people of Namibia, not by individuals, and the will of the sovereign will suffice.